This video is on how to loom knit a mock cable baby beanie. It's cute and soft and cozy, and the top of the hat is not bulky. It's also quite stretchy, and I'm sure you're going to be able to do this with my clear and concise instructions. So thanks for watching Ms. Yarn. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please click subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my easy to understand tutorials. Today we'll cover number 1, how to mark your loom, number 2, how to do the chain cast on, number 3, how to do the mock cables in the body of the hat, number 4, how to do the crown decrease, and number 5, how to bind off. As for the supplies you'll need, 1 ball of yarn. I used Wool Ease Thick and Quick, which is a number 6 weight, and it has a bit of stretchiness that's helpful for the mock cables. You'll need a 48 peg knitting loom with a gauge of 5/8 of an inch. I used the chunky flexi loom to help me with the crown decrease. You'll need a hook, a pair of scissors, and a yarn needle too. And you might find it helpful to have something to mark your loom like elastics or stitch markers. And lastly, you may need an extra hook, a cable needle, or a stitch holder for the cables. When I put together the flexi loom, I alternated groups of 6 lighter pegs and 6 darker pegs since there's a 3-stitch pattern, and that just helped me out. And I also marked peg 1 with a yellow elastic, and I marked every 3 pegs in purple for the purl stitches. So you'll see purple elastics on pegs 3, 6, 9, 12, and so on. For this project, let's use the chain cast on. It's one of my favorite cast on techniques. Tie a loose knot between peg 1 and peg 48. By the way, we'll be working clockwise during this video. Make a loop and hold it inside the loom with your right hand. With your left hand, feed the working yarn between pegs 1 and 2. Take it with your right hand and pull it. You're tightening up the yarn to make a new loop in the back. Excellent. Now let's move on. Again, feed the yarn between pegs 2 and 3. Take it with your right hand. Pull on that yarn to make a new loop in the back. Now peg 2 is casted on. Let's continue with this chain cast on all the way around the loom. I'll meet you in a few minutes when you're done. I'm just about finished my chain cast on. I'll cast on peg 47. Now I'm casting on peg 48. And to finish things up, I'm going to put that final loop on peg 1, and I'm going to pull on the yarn to make sure it's tight enough. And now our chain cast on is done. Let's just undo that knot from the beginning to make round 1 easier. And let's notice that on the front of the pegs, you'll see 1 strand of yarn, and on the back of the pegs, you'll see 2 strands of yarn. The mock cable body of this hat is made up of a 3-round repeat. Rounds 1 and 2 are a knit 2, purl 1 sequence. So to begin, let's do an E-wrap knit stitch on peg 1. So we wrap peg 1 and then we'll take over those 2 loops. I'll do it one at a time since it's easier that way. Let's do an E-wrap knit stitch on peg 2. Now let's purl on peg 3. Your working yarn is below the loop. Dive into the loop with your hook. Grab the working yarn, pull it upwards to make a new loop. Take the old loop off the peg, put the new loop on the peg. Now pull on the yarn to tighten things up. Now let's repeat those 3 stitches. E-wrap knit on peg 4, E-wrap knit on peg 5, purl on peg 6, and you'll see that peg 6 is marked with a purple elastic since all of the purple elastics indicate purl stitches. So on your own, you're going to continue this knit 2, purl 1 sequence. You're going to complete round 1 and you're going to do round 2 as well since both of those rounds are the same. So let's meet again when you're finished with round 2. So I'm finishing up round 2 by knitting on pegs 46 and 47. And then I'm purling on peg 48. Excellent. So now we are done with round 2. For round 3, we'll do our twisting moves. You might also hear this referred to as left crosses or mock cables. I'll show you how to do it with my fingers first, and then I'll show you with 2 hooks. So let's remove the loop from peg 2 and we'll just hold it in the back with our left hand. Remove the loop on peg 1 and put it on peg 2. Now take the loop in the back and put that loop on peg 1. So what I do is I poke through that loop with my hook. I poke through it from the back and then I put it on peg 1. Okay, very good. Those 2 loops have just traded places. And so next we are going to do our E-wrap knit stitches. So we wrap peg 1, knit over as usual, wrap peg 2, and knit over, and purl on peg 3. Now for the next twist. So remove the loop on peg 5 and hold it in the back. Remove the loop on peg 4, put it on peg 5. Now put the loop that you've been holding onto peg 4. Now do E-wrap knit stitches on pegs 4 and 5 to complete the twists. Now purl on peg 6. For the next 3 stitches, I want to show you my preferred method, which is to use 2 hooks. Remove the loop on the left with 1 hook and hold it in the back. Then remove the loop on the right with another hook and put it on the left peg. Now take the loop that you've been reserving in the back and put that loop on the right peg. Okay, so now your loops have traded places and you need to do your 2 E-wrap knit stitches. Then purl on the next peg. And then you'll do the next twist. So go ahead and complete round 3. And then since we're repeating the same 3-round repeat, Rounds 4, 5, and 6 are just like rounds 1, 2, and 3. So, to get a height of 6.5 inches, you're going to complete 21 rounds. So, go ahead and knit on your own, and we'll meet again when it's time for round 22. So, we've done 21 rounds. Let's see the right side of the hat so we can see the mock cables. Looks amazing. So, there are many ways to decrease the top of the hat. This is just one way. So, we want to go from 48 stitches to 32 stitches. So, we need to take out 16 stitches. So, we're going to unsnap the loom after 6 pegs. Now, all of our purl stitches are going to get swallowed up by the knit stitches. So, move stitch 3 onto peg 2. Now move stitch 6 onto peg 5. Now shift things to the right so that we don't have any empty pegs. Remove the last 2 pegs and now reattach the loom. And now we knit on these 4 pegs. Okay, very good. Let's go to the next set of 6 pegs. Unsnap the loom after the 6th peg. Move 3 to 2. Move 6 to 5. Shift things to the right. Remove pegs 5 and 6. Reattach the loom. Knit those 4 pegs. Okay, excellent. Our decrease is going very well. On your own, you'll continue working with 6 pegs at a time. Let's catch up again when you've done this round, which is round 22. Here, I'm finishing up round 22 by knitting these last 4 pegs. And here are the 16 pegs that we've removed. So now round 22 is done. I'll just push the fabric through the loom so that it's right side out and we can see the cables. This will also make it less crowded on the inside of the loom. So round 23 is super easy. You're going to do E-wrap knit stitches all the way around the loom. So go ahead and do that knitting and we'll meet again in a few minutes. So here I'm finishing up round 23, which was just an E-wrap knit round. And now round 23 is done. For round 24, we're going to do another decrease. We want to go from 32 stitches to 16 stitches. Unsnap the loom after 4 pegs. Move 2 to 1. Move 4 to 3. Shift things to the right. Remove the last 2 pegs. Reattach the loom. Knit those 2 pegs. Let's go to the next 4 pegs now. Unsnap the loom after the 4th peg. Move 2 to 1. Move 4 to 3. Shift things to the right. Remove the last 2 pegs. Reattach the loom. And knit those 2 pegs. Fantastic. Now decrease on your own for the rest of this round, which is round 24, and then I'll ask you to do round 25 on your own as well, because round 25 is all E-rep knit stitches. So I'll see you when you're done those rounds. I finished round 25, which was a simple knit round, and now we're going to bind off. So let's wrap our loom one time and cut the yarn. For the gather bind off, we'll use our hook to pull up the yarn up each loop on every peg. So let's go to peg 1. I'm going to pull it upwards through that loop. Okay, excellent. Let's move to peg 2. The yarn is going to go up that loop, and then we'll just pop it off the peg. Now we'll do the same all the way around the loom. We'll bring the yarn up the loop on peg 1 just for good measure, and then we're going to remove the loom completely. Let's turn the hat inside out since we need it to be inside out to weave in the tail. Let's close the hat now by pulling on that tail. Okay, so it closes up very nicely since there are only 16 stitches at the top of the hat. Now let's thread our yarn needle, and then we're just going to do a few stitches at the top of the hat around the circle. Now let's tie a knot. And then we'll weave in the tail. I'll just do a few stitches with you since I don't want the video to be too long. Let's turn the hat right side out so we can see what the mock cables look like. And then we'll go to the cast on edge. We need to weave in that tail. So we'll thread our yarn needle, and then we're going to go up one of the columns along the inside of the hat. So just go up a few of these stitches and then cut off any excess yarn. Let's look at our mock cable baby beanie. If you like this video or if you learned anything at all from it, could you please like, comment, or share? I'll see you next time.